You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to Good News with G, show that encourages you to help others. I'm your host G, and this is our third episode, believe it or not, but I just want to kind of go over housekeeping as I usually do. If you join me the first time, welcome. What I try to do in this show is encourage you to reach out and help others, and basically I have some really great incentives for that. So I have these guys right here. This is my handmade smiley face rope sign, and what I do with that is I give you guys a chance to win those things if you send me a video of yourself helping somebody, or if you do something, or if you find somebody that's doing something really good, if you send me some content, because that's what I'm always looking for, some content. It's always difficult to be a one-man show, and I wear all kinds of hats here, lots of different hats, so any kind of help I can get is greatly appreciated. So, so like I said, if you want to reach out to me, always, goodnewswithg at gmail.com. So that's goodnewswithg at gmail.com. And that goes across all my platforms. So if you just Google that, you got Facebook, you got YouTube. It's my Twitter account. It's really easy to remember, goodnewswithg. And then my email, as always, is goodnewswithg at gmail.com. So I hope everybody's having a good middle of the week. It's Wednesday, always a fun day. You want to keep going. So this is a place that you can just do that. You can just kind of sit back, relax, listen to me, find out some interesting things that are happening in the community, find out people that are out there that are really just going, above and beyond, and also some really encouraging stories about entrepreneurs. I always love entrepreneurs, whether they're 9 years old or 15 or even 100 years old. Those are the kind of stories that I bring you. And I also have a travel section, and we talk about some other stuff. So I was out in Brenham this time for my travel section. So we'll get to that in a second. But I really love Brenham. That's probably one of my second favorite places to go to, especially if you're going out there if you're going to go out there, Brenham, you got to go out for the ice cream. But still $1, amazingly. If you go to the Bluebell Creamery, you actually get a little. You can look over the floor and look at it, see what's going on, how they make the ice cream, and grab yourself a scoop or two. But I do warn you, at only $1 a piece, you will get brain freeze pretty quick, and it's pretty cheap. It's like $3 for just a total freeze of your brain there. So basically, let's talk about some other stuff. So basically, I talked about what I do and why I'm doing it, and I usually start out with some stuff in the community. Before I forget, don't forget, I have a really large prize basket that I make, and I'm still trying to fill that. So if you have a business, you have a service, you have a product that you would like to put in there, and what I do at the end of the week is whoever has got the most heartwarming. I tell you what, I know when you get old and you eat a McRib and it gives you heartburn. I'm telling you. So, like I said, that basket's a really great way to get your service or product out there, let people see it. Plus, it's a really great, incentive. I mean, it really is. I feel that thing. I want to get the thing as full as I can with anything from gift certificates for food to a free, massage maybe, Massage Envy if you're listening. That would be a great place to put that. And what I do is I'm going to go eventually when I get the equipment. If you guys want to go to my Facebook page and look at that, I have a wish list, and I want to get a cordless microphone and some other stuff so I can get out there and do kind of like on the street interviews where I talk to people and pass out, my smiley faces. These guys right here. Remember, these guys right there. So I can pass those out, and I'll just give those out randomly if you can just prove to me that you've done something, some kind of act of kindness. I will just give them to you right there on the spot. So that's a lot of fun. And so, I have broken this down into different categories. There's 4 of them for the show. The first one is community. The second one is inspirational stories. And the third, which is my favorite, is travel. It kind of gives you a chance to find some place to go and relax, kind of de-stress for the day, and just have some fun, and just not worry about anything and get out there, whether it's with you, your significant other, your family, your kids. It's just a fun, relaxing, and most of the stuff that I go to, the places I travel to is less than an hour or a little more than an hour, possibly two, from Houston. Of course, my base is Houston, so I'm everything that I talk about as far as trips is from Houston. So you could be a little closer, you could be a little farther, but the majority, my starting point is Houston. So that's where the travel comes from. And then I try to do something kind of humorous, whether it's a story that you have, or it's an incident that happened, or it's maybe even got a little stand-up comedy routine that you have and you put on YouTube. This would be another place for you to showcase your skills and talent, as it would be. And I talked last week about something funny dealing with that. I talked about how I met my wife. And if you missed that, you might want to go back and listen to the second episode. I'm sure I'll have a lot of people that will be able to relate to that, my situation. My wife was from Peru, and just the language barrier when I first met her was pretty big. But, you work through that if you find somebody that, ignites that spark in you or whatnot. So you might want to just go back and listen to that. And if you've got something related to that, I could really use that too. If you have an interesting story or a humorous story about how you met your, significant other, if they came from a different culture and had, a different background than you did, and, just the interaction you folks had together, and, it's kind of maybe some funny stuff that happened as you've been married, for a long period of time. So that would be something that I really could look forward to and would be really kind of neat for other people to see. So community. That's my main topic we're going to talk about right now, because that's the first thing I deal with. And I talked to you guys last time about an organization that has community gardens, and what it takes to put one of those together. And basically, you're talking somebody to donate the land. You're talking somebody that would donate equipment and things like that. They said the organization talks about how it would, roughly be between $1,500 and $4,000 or so to, get the fertilizer, get the tools, the seeds, whatnot it would take to actually put the garden together, whether it was fencing around there or whatever the case may be. It's around $4,000. Of course, it can go up from there. So I wanted to put, our community, Good News with G's community garden out there. So that's a project that I'm working on that I hope you guys can get involved with. You can put in as little time in there as you want, as much time as you want. It's all up to you on just, how your spare time and what you want to do with it would go. So if you guys have some land too, if you would like to donate some land that we can use, it's not going to be much, I don't think, So I'm looking at maybe 30 square feet by 30 square feet, something like that. Just a small little patch we can kind of start out with and manage and learn and grow from that, so to speak, right? Learn and grow. So that's basically it on community. So it is, if you guys feel that, you've got something else out there happening in the community, that's another thing too. Like I said, it's always tough to find content when I'm wearing 10 different hats. So if you have something relevant to the community that you want to talk about, that you need volunteers for, or some kind of, outreach program that needs the support of the community, that's, something that I would be interested in hearing about. So, and you can always get hold of me at goodnewswithg@gmail.com. So just kind of stick that in your brain, goodnewswithg@gmail.com. You can always private message me too on Facebook if you had a larger file you wanted to upload, or, something you want to talk about. I constantly on that stuff all the time, paying attention to who and what sends to me, what kind of information I comes across. So, I'm usually checking that stuff toward the end of the day. So just give me a little time to respond back to you if you guys reach out to me. And and then we're going to get into my second thing, which is inspiration. And, it always amazes me how people will look at some situation and start out with a negative, because I think that's what we're, as people, that's what just intrigues us, is the negativity that goes on in this world and not the positivity. So I usually try to come up with some kind of, inspirational thought. I look all around all the time for something that, a saying, a phrase. I pay attention to people on the news talking. I listen to people that are just out in the community. So I always, try to pick up as much as I possibly can. And, with the one that I have on my page, which if you guys didn't see that, there is no excuse better for the human heart than reaching down and lifting people up. And I strongly believe in that. I think that what you put out in the world is what you're going to get in return. So it's kind of up to us to always put a positive spin on something, because I think everything happens for a reason. I really do. I mean, it might not hit you right away. It might happen down the road, and you might have to have a gotcha moment where something that happened, you kind of sit back and you realize, well, man, that's why that happened. That led me to this person. That opened this door for me. So going around just being negative, it won't help you. I guarantee you. Complain about something instead of doing something about it is always a more positive, productive role we should all play. So, and along that line of thought, I mentioned this last time, but I really like this line. Remember that not getting what you want is sometimes a wonderful stroke of luck. So I personally believe that if a door closes on you, then you're going to be forced to go to the other door. So you never know what's behind that door. So always treat it as that. Always treat it as what happens to you sometimes is a stroke of luck. Really, it really can be. I can't count the times on my hands and using all my fingers and toes how many times I've come across a situation and I'm looking at it at that moment and I'm thinking, well, this shouldn't happen. Why is this happening to me? And then somehow I'll bump into somebody else or a person that, somehow will push me in another direction or have me, look around for something else. I mean, it just really does. When something happens to you, I think you really got to think it out as a stroke of luck. I mean, I know it might not be the best positive impact on your life at the moment, but I truly believe that, some things were just meant to happen. And they may not be the most positive thing, but it helps us all grow as people, as human beings. If we're not able to sift through life and take a few knocks, then we won't be as mentally balanced as we really want to be. So I have this list of, I kind of like this list. It's thoughts around the power of hope. And I without hope, there's no determination, there's no will, there is no, as John Wayne would put it, one of my favorite actors, without true grit. And I think a lot of us have true grit. We just need somebody to push us in the right direction to utilize that power of thought and that give us that will and determination. They say that a lot of billionaires started out with nothing, and that's what drove them forward and gave them the determination, the will, just the audacity to not let people tell them what they were doing was wrong or give up on themselves. So keep that kind of in mind. So I'm going to read off that there's a whole list of stuff. We all know hope springs eternal. I think we've all heard that as kids. I mean, I did. Ones that another one on here is optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope. There it is, and confidence. You really got to have the confidence to persevere in your dreams. And I've got a couple stories of inspiration from some real young kids that have taken a lot of probably adversity and people telling them they can't do it because they're kids, and they've come up with some really great products. They've really shown that that you really can achieve your dreams in this country. You really can have hope. And as long as you have hope, that is the main thing. I just got to drill that into everybody that without hope, there is just really nothing out there. So do not despair in that. But, I can see I like to do these segments in 15-minute segments. So I'm going to take a little break real quick, grab something to drink, and I'll be right back.
A Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show, with monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
Don't forget to download the Lone Star Community Radio app for your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That is Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1.
Hey everybody, we're back again. If you just joined me, welcome. This is Good News with G. I'm your host, G. And this category I've come across, like I said, if you missed the first intro of the show, I have 4 sections. I've got community, inspiration, travel, and something funny or something humorous, or just something to make you laugh, maybe a photograph. I'm just kind of snowballing a lot of this stuff. So whatever you got you think might put a smile on somebody's face is the last section. But right now I'm talking about inspiration, and I have got, my favorite thing about this country is entrepreneurs, and especially the young ones. They come up with some really great stuff, and they're really out there in the community making a really profound and positive impact and giving people, especially young people, a chance to see that if you take the initiative and, try to open as many doors as possible, it'll work out. I mean, and you will be able to do what you want to do, and there's really nothing holding you back except, my favorite quote is from Churchill, and he says, "You have nothing to fear but fear itself." And that is so true. Don't let the fear or the thought pattern cross your mind that you're going to fail, because if you fail, you can always learn from that and just move on and find one way that works. So failure is never the ends to the mean. It is always the beginning, I think. As a graphic designer, I've learned a lot of things. I knock on doors every day. I get people that turn me down all the time. And I don't let that, deter or determine what my future will hold, or, how I'm going to live my life, or how I'm going to react with certain people. It just doesn't happen that way. That's not the way the world rolls. So I have, these guys are great. The G Boys, and these 3 young kids. I got a 14-year-old guy's name is King, and then I have another one, another 9-year-old who's also King. They must be brothers, Ziggy King and Talon. I guess it's Talon King. If I slaughter these names, I'm sorry. I'm doing my best. And then I have another one. It's 3 of these guys, and Prince Noah is the other gentleman's name. They're all 3 guys, Prince Noah, and then what they did was these guys have put together, those bouncy houses, one of those things where you can rent stuff like tables and chairs and party stuff, the stuff you see at these kids' parties, all kinds of inflatable stuff, I would imagine. And not to mention that not only do they do this, but they have come out with their their own clothing line, a fashionable clothing line, which I think is really neat. I mean, these three kids, they're out there just becoming successful entrepreneurs, and they're just whatever they put their mind to, it seems like they're able to do. And so along with that, these guys have got a program. So they're not only are they providing a service to the community and giving them products that they want, and and supplying them with a clothing line, they're also out there doing their part to make the community a more positive place for everybody. And it's the program is called Box Out Bullying, and that teaches kids to unite together to stop, cyberbullying and all the other stuff that the kids have to worry about these days, which I never had to worry about. I always had to worry about the people in front of me, not the people behind me, or the people out there floating around, because cyber bullying is just it's so destructive. It really is. There's really no place in our society for that, and these kids know that. They know that a lot of these issues these kids have to deal with is really detrimental, and it causes suicide, and it causes all kinds of issues. So they've come up with this program. So my hat's off to these guys, and not only that, but during the pandemic, these guys helped the Humble Police Department pass out 200 turkeys. So these guys aren't kidding around. And they've also had a program where they helped Humble kids, 500 kids with shoes. I mean, these guys are just giving back. I mean, nobody has to tell them what their responsibilities are, what's right or what's wrong, or what they need to do. They're willing to just come up with whatever. When they see something that needs to be done, something that people need help with, and these guys are out there. I mean, it's just, so if you see these guys, the story that I got, I just Googled stuff to see what's out there. So I don't have really time to go into great detail and find out every bit of information about these guys. But from what I'm seeing from the surface is they are somebody that this community needs. We need more of these guys. We need more G-boys. We need a lot of them out there. Not only coming up with a product or a service or an idea, or something that they can make a living on. It seems like these guys are doing pretty well for being 9 and 14 and 12 years old. These guys got their own clothing line. That's pretty impressive for being that young age. And then they're out there in the community making a big difference. They're out there, just coming up. If they're seeing a problem in the community, they're working with the police. I mean, these guys, I'm just really impressed. I really am. My hats goes off to these kids. I mean, they are doing more than a lot of adults are doing. A lot of adults are screaming and yelling, the sky is falling, and these guys are like, well, yeah, but what are you doing about it? And these guys are out there doing something about it. So, that's the kind of, that's the kind of young generation that needs to be, acknowledged. And it looks like they got a bunch of awards and stuff. So that's pretty neat. So they are getting the recognition that they deserve for what they're doing out there in the community. And that's just one. I mean, there's lots more people. So the second story I got, is about a lemonade stand. And I don't know how many of you guys out there had a lemonade stand when you were young. I mean, I did. I mean, everybody in there had a lemonade stand. I mean, you were always, my lemonade's better than yours, and competing with that. So, when life gives you lemons, you're supposed to make lemon juice out of it. And evidently, this how old is this lady? A fourth grader, Sabrina, a fourth grader. She won the 2020 Entrepreneur of the Year, and she is in fourth grade. I mean, come on, guys. If a fourth grader can come up with this stuff and make a lemonade stand a business, she's actually got some of this product. I think it's I'm not sure which store. I couldn't figure that out. It's in a store somewhere. Maybe it's in a store in Sugar Land, but she actually has her product on the store And in the shelves, she is just squeezing some orange juice. I mean, some lemonade. She's unbelievable. And it's called Fresh and Juicy. That's the name of the brand that's in the stores. And not only does she have one flavor, I guess, which is the original one, but she's got 4 flavors. So that's kind of neat. Muddy Buddy, strawberry, and raspberry, and of course the original flavor. So she's out there too. I mean, she's not letting anything get in the way of what she wants to do. I mean, and what's really great about this is she's doing this to honor her dad, who passed away with cancer in 2017. So talk about taking grief and sadness and turning it around and doing something positive with it. So she said basically she didn't want anybody else to go through what she did. So she's set aside 10% of her earnings from the sale of her product, the lemonade, to a Dr. Marie Rose organization. And so those are people that help people with certain types of cancer. Just have to get through what they get through with, it's, but she's out there and she readily, and just has more determination and will than most kids her age would even have. I mean, just by what she's gone through. And she said, this is a quote from her, she says, "I'll never stop because this business is my business." And that is true. I mean, if you take self-pride in what you do, you can accomplish it, and it shows, and people appreciate that. So she also said, this is another quote from her, "Hard work pays off. And if you're really passionate about it, I recommend doing it." And that's the whole thing. She's passionate about this. She has just an overwhelming sense of determination. And for being a 4th grader, it's pretty amazing at what she's been able to accomplish in such a short, amount of time already. And like I said, I was trying to look through here. I wanted to give you guys an idea where you could support her and find this lemonade, but I don't see it anywhere. It's but I think if you just Google that, you'll find that if you Google Fresh and Juicy, I think you'll be able to. I'm pretty sure that I know she's got a website, but like I said, these stories I don't have time to go into real depth with them, but I just kind of give you the Cliff Notes. I give you the Cliff Notes version is what I do. So that was my Cliff Note version on her. But those two people, the G Boys and this Fresh and Juicy, are two of the ones that I found online that I just feel were exemplary of, what you can do if you put your mind to something. I know there's going to be some issues that are different from others, but you just need to surround yourself with people that have that kind of drive or determination. And if you do that, then you'll be able to, I think, push through any setbacks, adversities, or just things that just don't go your way. I mean, the lady with the lemonade stand, she must have tried different ways to mix this stuff. She got the recipes, I think she said, from her grandmother, I believe, if that's correct. I think she got some of them from there. And then she just learned to adapt and maybe change a few ingredients here and there to, make sure that it's all fresh, it's all natural. So, I haven't tried one myself, but I'm really determined to do that this week. I'm going to go out and try to find some of this lemonade. So when I do this section again on inspiration, I can show you guys where I got it and what the bottle looks like and what it tastes like. So I'm not really sure if I really want Muddy Buddy. I'm not really sure about that one, or the raspberry. But, strawberry and original, I could probably go with that. Those would probably be two of my favorites that I would definitely give a shot out to and try. And then on the other guys we talked about, these G-Boys, I definitely want to find out some more about them. It seems like that these guys are working with the Humble area, so it seems like maybe they're probably coming from there. That's where those guys hang out and do their thing. So I might just go do an interview with those guys and hang out with them and watch them do a setup and give you guys more information, because I see bouncy houses all over the place all the time. That's the end thing to do. Is have one of those bouncy houses, or if you guys need chairs or whatnot, I'm sure they have like a price list, and that would be kind of interesting to find out, how competitive these kids are, which, I'm sure they are. They know the market's out there, and they know there's people that want that. So they're going to try to be as competitive as the next guy, right? So I will definitely reach out to them and see just what I can find out, some more information about them, because I'm really intrigued with these two stories. It shows that both ends of the spectrum, what you can do if you really put your mind and your heart and your soul into it, that there are certain things that you can, succeed at. And I pretty much believe it's just about anything. Everybody's going to have a different experience, but I think in the long run, they'll work it out. So that's my travel section. So I'm going to take a quick little break, and I'll be right back. And that's my inspiration section. We'll be right back with the travel section. So I'll see you guys soon.
The Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service has been dedicated to educating Texans for over a century. In 1915, the Extension Program was established under the federal Smith-Lever Act to deliver university knowledge and agricultural research findings directly to the people. Ever since, AgriLife Extension programs have addressed the emerging issues of the day, serving diverse populations across the state. Texans turn to Extension for solutions in horticulture, agriculture, 4-H and youth, and family and consumer sciences. Extension agents respond not only with answers, but also with resources and services that result in significant returns on investment to boost the economy. Join us Fridays at 1 o'clock for the AgriLife Extension Hour.
Our talk shows and music shows are looking for sponsors. Want to expand your brand awareness? Reach the hyper-local audience in Montgomery County? Lone Star Community Radio sponsorships accomplish this. Want to see our stats and rates? Check out irlonestar.com/sponsor for more information. Or call in and leave us a message at 936-647-3776 with your question. Get seen on TV or YouTube and heard on our podcast, FM, and internet radio. Sponsor your local radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
Did you know there are more than 790 abused and neglected children currently in foster care in Montgomery County? Will you help make a difference? I'm Allie Stevens with Casa Child Advocates of Montgomery County. We train and support volunteers to be the voice of children in the foster care system. Kids removed from their home because of abuse and neglect. And we need volunteers just like you to advocate for these children. To learn more about becoming an advocate, please visit CasaSpeaksForKids.com. That's CasaSpeaksForKids.com.
Hey everybody, we're back. I'm at one of my favorite categories, and that's travel. And that's, something I really think that we all should do. We should also get out there and travel and have some fun and just, take time to really rejuvenate and get our minds back on the work week. Like I said, Wednesdays is always kind of like a hump day, as they call it. So finding something like my show that just kind of gives you a chance to look around, plan out the rest of the week, and have something to look forward to. And that's, I think, one of the big things in my travel section is it gives you something to actually look forward to. It actually gives you a chance to go, oh, I'm going to do this. Yeah, this should be a lot of fun. That'll we'll bring the bikes. And where I'm going to this time is Brenham, and that's a really good place to bring bikes. It really is. It's a big enough downtown area that you can kind of, it's good for walking, it's good for biking, and there's all kinds of bike trails and parks and other things like that all around Brenham and the adjacent areas. So I really think that, and also too, I wanted to mention before I get in the video, on the way up there, there's all kinds of places you can just kind of stop off on. They've got bluebonnet should be blooming pretty quick here. When I went to film this, they're normally up there, but they weren't. So I think they're kind of in hibernation is what they said. They didn't like that chill either. And then one more thing, I wanted to give a shout out to our 80s life. I don't have a drone, and that's of course something I should add to the wish list for a shot that I did. I borrowed from these guys, so I really want to thank those guys. And it was called Visiting Bluebill Ice Cream Factory, and so I just didn't have really good quality images, so I appreciate those guys. I'm borrowing it just in case you guys know. If you ever want it back, I'll be glad to give it back to you. But again, that's from our 80s life. This one of the actual clip that had of the Bluebill factory. I have like some shots of the drone panning in, and I've got some other shots of the grounds itself. So I really wanted to make something, I wanted to have I don't have the best camera equipment in the world, but these guys do. So that's where I got that clip from. So I want to make sure we give a shout out to those guys. But let's dive into the video. Here we go. So basically, as you go into Brenham, there's a spot downtown where everybody takes their pictures, and it's a big mural. So you just ask people where that mural is, the downtown Brenham mural, and it's got a picture of a train and the old streets that you can just stand in front of and take some great pictures. Just be kind of careful. There's a lot of traffic going in and out. And of course, when you get there, you need to go to the visitors the visitor office, or where you can go get information. The visitor center. That's the word I was looking for. Visitor center. And they've got pretty much every kind of pamphlet you can think of, and those guys are really great. They'll give you directions on where to eat, what to do, what to see, and where to go. So, and here we are. We're in the backside of Brenham here. Got a train going by. If you ever wanted to watch some trains, that's a great place. They've got it goes right at the edge of downtown. And then I started out at the Santa Fe Freight Depot, and that's some really great shots. That's a really neat place to go to if you ever wanted to take some shots of really neat building. And then, of course, once you get down into the downtown area, the one thing that I really liked about Brenham is they've really kept it up really well. If you really want to see some really cool and interesting architect that's well preserved, this is going to be the town for you. I mean, it really is. They've kept up all the old architecture. It's real, all the colors, the brightness of them. It's just interesting to see all the detail that these guys did when they did, back in the 1800s, 1900s. They just put so much more effort in making a building look, pleasing and more aesthetically pleasing, so to speak, with large windows, large arches, decorative ironwork, on the outside. Because if you guys are just listening to my narrative of this and you're not watching my Facebook page or the Twitter or my YouTube, you're not able to see this just really interesting architect that's in downtown Brenham. So I suggest you guys go over there and take a look at that and kind of follow me as I go along. Even the tops of the buildings were trimmed out. I mean, just large chunks of wood or granite was there. And that's kind of apparent in all the buildings, especially and once you get there too, they have the Brenham Company #1 fire station. Which is really neat. They got a bunch of old fire engines in there, 20s, 30s. I think they've even got a 50s in there. They've got a horse-drawn carriage of a pumper that they had, one of the few that's probably still around that would probably still work if you actually wanted to put out a fire. It's encased in glass, and it kind of gives you a synopsis of what it took to man that thing and run it, and how many gallons of water they could pump through there. But you should go take a look at that. And then when you get back out on the street, like I said, just just the overall appearance of Brenham. It makes you feel you're back in the 1930s, 1800s. They kept the buildings up really well. All the different shapes of the building, or just even that's kind of interesting to look at from short to tall to small. They've even got one that dates back to 1899, and it's still got part of the original roof on there, the overlay and the detailed work of the facade of the front. It's really amazing that it's been able to hold up for over 100 years. So, like I said, and you even got you even have some brick buildings. There's one that I thought looked more like there must have been the jail that they originally had. I mean, it just looks prison-y. And they've got a lot of the original paintings, like the Brenham Iron Works is a building that's actually got the original facade or the paint on there, and they've turned it into a pet shop. So it's a pet shop now. And then, once you get back we're back out on the street again, walking around. It's just really is amazing to see how long these buildings have held up. Plus, they've really got some great murals. If you look around, there's just murals just pretty much everywhere. There's one of armadillo. They got one of a bird surrounded by roses. So just even looking at the murals is a lot of fun. Just tooling around and looking at that. And then once you've been walking around, looking at the buildings, and you start to get hungry, like I did, after about an hour doing this, your brain starts to have a little meltdown. And one of the places that I was suggested to go to, which is right across from the courthouse. I know I'm not going to pronounce this right, so you guys are just going to have to cut me some slack here and give me a little bit of room. I think it's Tebu or Teba or something like that. I'm not really sure how you pronounce that thing, but it's a tacos and burgers and something close to that. They'll let you know that you're in the right place. And I took their special. They have daily specials, and I took the fried fish tacos, and I got the street corn with it because you could have mac and cheese or potato salad, and then it comes with a drink. You can either have lemonade or tea. I took tea, of course. That's what I always drink. I take unsweet. I know that's un-Texan, but I don't like sweet tea because it makes my brain start to melt a little bit there. And I also had that special, that sandwich was unbelievable. But if you want to do something else, they also have a steakhouse that I heard was really good, the Longhorn Saloon and Steakhouse. So if you feel like a steak, I would imagine that'd be the place to go. And the shops are really great too. The shops are just about anything you can think of is out there. So if you got, what is this one? Workshop. It's got all kinds of great stuff you can do. They actually have a workshop there, it looks like. They've got shirts, they got purses, they got dresses. They even have a place for you if you're a nurse. They've got a place that's got scrubs, so in case you forget your stuff, you can go grab something there. Pretty much any kind of T-shirt you can think of, they've got there. But this scrub place was if you were in the health profession or healthcare, then that'd be a great place. And they've got jewelry there. They've also got some great looking shoes that you could probably get a hold of. But that was a really neat place. I liked that place. So I suggest you guys go there. And then, once you get to the end of the town, you start to run out of stuff. But they had a place called the Canyon Chick, so a shout out to those guys. And they had all kinds of pillows, decorative pillows in there, other kinds of clothing items. Just really interesting place, jewelry. So those are if you guys around that area, I would suggest stopping into that. And just look around in there. You never know what you're going to find. It's always an adventure when you're in some place you've never been to. They've all got kinds of interesting, some really crazy, interesting purses that I've never seen before. But once you're through with that and you're getting tired and you don't feel like driving back home, this place called Ant Street Inn is a bed and breakfast. And it's an historical building that's been around for eons, it seems. And they've got, I think they said about 15 rooms, decked out with antique furniture and stuff. So that's a really neat place. I didn't get a chance to go inside there, so I would suggest you Google them to see, virtual kind of reality walkthrough. But they have weddings there if you want to do a wedding. They've got a really great breakfast. And then not only do you have clothing, but you got artists. There's a big artist community there. Anything from, handmade plates. They've got paintings to look at. This place, Brenham Fine Arts League and Gallery, was pretty cool to walk into and look around and see the different kind of stuff they had there. Teague Art. This guy specializes in, landscape type scenery. And he was real interesting to take a look at. He's got, there's a clip I've got of him of one of his couple of his paintings inside. It's got some barns and great outdoor stuff. And then, one of my favorite things is they actually had a real silversmith. Peter Emerson is a silversmith there, an actual silversmith. So he actually has if you look, he's got a shop, he's got the molds, he's got all the equipment that you can actually take a look at and see how he does some of this stuff. And it's really well handcrafted, well made, interesting pieces he's got out. Everything from mugs to plates to saucers, probably just about anything you guys really wanted, he'd be able to do for you. He got some jewelry in there to look at. He's probably could make, I would think, almost anything you wanted. You came in with a pattern or design or something like that. I'm sure he'd be able to make that for you. He also does some inlaid wood stuff that's really neat. But, anything from small stuff to big stuff. I saw some vases in there or pictures and stuff like that. So that's really interesting. If you've never seen a silversmith in action, that's the guy. Also, too, they've got a bookstore in case you want to get a gift for somebody and you're like, I want to get that special person a gift. This place, they've got used and new books. The Book Nook is what it's called. So and they've got puzzles, they've got all kinds of stuff in there, but they've actually got a sidewalk sale going on usually for, 25 cents to $1 for books, which is really, fun for you to peruse through and to see what you can find for yourself. And then at the end, they've actually, it's just, once you get through with all that, it's getting late. They've actually got a coffee shop if you want some coffee. They've also got all kinds of little bakery type things on the street. So that's kind of something for you to think about too. You can just kind of pump yourself a little bit of sugar, keep going, a little adrenaline with the coffee. And then they've also, this place was really neat. This place had some really interesting clothing for women, I thought, that was unique, one of a kind that I hadn't seen before. So there's all kinds of stuff if you just look around. It really is a place for you to pretty much get anything you want, from a children's boutique, gourmet foods, unique gifts, there's crafts. The Herman Emporium is kind of a neat place. And they've got all their Easter stuff out, is what it looked like. And they've got homemade candles, different scents I would imagine you could get a hold of. It'll be really neat. So, and just, hand-painted things on, I saw some hand-painted stuff on pillows, on shirts, just by anything you can think of. They had that. And they also have, a lot of children's boutiques over there. So if you wanted to pick up a present for someone, that's a great place to look, or something for yourself. Some really, really unique, I think, special items that you'd be able to find. So just about anything you can think of. Anything from home furnishings, too. They had a lot of stuff for the home, if you wanted to just kind of pick up a couple things. But my favorite thing of all, of course, is a Bluebell Creamery. Believe it or not, I know this is going to sound pretty incredible, but they actually have scoops of ice cream for $1 still. I know. Brain freeze cheap, right? It's right at Pecan and Bluebell Road is where the Bluebell Creamery actually is, where you can go in and sample stuff. Once you get there, you can look at they've got a plaque out there that tells, how it came about and all the information about the building and all that neat stuff. And just kind of like their motto. You've got some statues out there you can pose with for a picture. You've got their number 1, which I guess is their original car. And then at the end, Chapel Hill is one of my favorite places. You can hit this place on the way up there or not, but it's a bakery. It's Chapel Hill Bakery and Deli. And whether you guys want homemade, hand-cut, barbecue, they got that, sandwiches, all kinds of meals. And then at the end, you can take yourself home a homemade pie. And I usually just stop in for that, to tell you the truth. And my waistline definitely sees a measurable difference if I go up there enough. And they got all kinds of desserts. You can get a brownie if you want to just grab in for a homemade brownie on the way home. Homemade bread if you want some homemade bread. They've got meats, all kinds of meats you can choose from. And then, like I said, the brownies are out there. I mean, in little loaves of bread. I mean, it's a great place. It really is. Everything's homemade. It's fresh. And then also, too, depending on what you want to do, if you want to ever have an outdoor, they have indoor seating and outdoor seating. So that's just a great place. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. It seems like we're having some technical difficulty because it's Monday, I filmed this thing on a Monday, so it's actually Wednesday by the time you get it. But I hope you guys enjoyed that travel section. So let me take a break, and I will be right back with a few thoughts.
God's Garage is a 501c3 that repairs and gives away cars for free to single moms, widows, and wives of deployed military. You can help God's Garage by donating a vehicle, volunteering your time, or by monetary donation. God's Garage is located at 2106 East Davis, Conroe. If you'd like to learn more about God's Garage, visit our website at godsgarage.org. Or you can contact us, and we would be glad to come and make a presentation to your group.
Hey, this is Wayne Green, your host for Radio Wayne, Spoke and More. Each Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m., I'll be playing folk, singer-songwriter, Americana, blues, bluegrass, classic country, Cajun Zydeco, Celtic swing, and whatever else seems to fit. Once again, that's Radio Wayne, Spoke and More, every Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m. on Lone Star Community Radio.
Hey everybody, we're back. I just have just enough time to thank you for joining me. And remember, as always, this show is here to help. Is here to encourage you to help others. And if you need to get a hold of me, the best way to get a hold of me is goodnewswithg@gmail.com, or you can private message me on my Facebook page. So those are the two ways that I check constantly. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and then I guess I'll see you next time. Thanks.